to Fantasy AI. All right, back in the computer room today. We're going to do some fantasy slot machine. Going to have it randomize up some matchups and see who we'd take. But first, let's get to that backfield. I want to welcome in some new subscribers. I've got some new subscribers tall for my height. Eric Loving, David Ayers, Davin0996, Mado, and John Peck. Welcome aboard. Welcome into Fantasy AI. Still room on that wall. All right. First up, we're going to look at some movers. So each week I got to bring down the consensus rankings to put on my screens. See how other people are thinking. So here's the movers. Over on this left side, we've got, you can see this Vidal for the Chargers moved up 11 spots. Miller moved up 12 spots. Lloyd there in Green Bay, I think he's got that backup spot, moved up 6 spots. Oh, they announced that Mitchell was indeed the backup this year. Henry, just by the virtue of being Derrick Henry, moved up 4 spots. This Tajay Spears, I don't know what they're thinking in this Tennessee. They got 2 highly ranked guys and a not-so-great rushing team. And, oh, the lottery ticket, Blake Corum. He moved up 4 spots. Cat's out of the bag, maybe. But let's look at some moving down. We got Chuba Hubbard moving down. I guess they were getting excited about that rookie, Jonathan Brooks. Charbonnet down 8 spots. Ramadre Stevenson down 6 spots. Oh, I love this one. Devin Singletary down 5 spots. Keep moving him down. He's one of my sleepers. Tank Dell moved down 5 spots in that crowded backfield. All right, you see some of the other movers here, but I have to... Ooh, Najee Harris down 4 spots. I like it, down to up to 23rd. They got one of the easiest rushing schedules. Kind of liking him this year. But let's move on. Let's get started. And let's get started here with some fantasy slots. How's this work? Well, it's going to randomize. Let's just get started. It's going to randomize up 2 players. And, oh, now it's going to pick 2 players close in the rankings. It ain't going to pick me up first and 50th. I mean, what's fun is that? But anyway, up first is the 3rd and 4th ranked receivers. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Now look at that average. You can see right there that 3 points more for Justin Jefferson in the game. All right. So let's take a look here. Oh, there's schedule difficulties. We got easier path for Justin Jefferson on top of it, averaging 3 points more a game. All right. Here's some of the yards. You know, first off, what stands up here we got to look at is Justin Jefferson missed those. What's that? It's about 7 or 8 weeks. But look how he was scoring when he was in the game. All right. Just a difference maker, a true difference maker at wide receiver. There you see, I really like him. Let's take a look at Jamar Chase's weekly. Now see here, there were 5 weeks he was over 10 last year. Hasn't been in the top 10 the last 2 years. They're just overpriced on Jamar Chase, so we don't even need to go any further. I'm locking in Justin Jefferson there, and he's the better pick. So let's move on. All right, we got up next, 2 from the same team, Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, 11th and 12th. So we can see, well, it's not going to make much difference, but they both got the 20th schedule difficulty. And here's the yards from last year. Woo, look at all those yards for Ayuk, 1340. Now, Samuel did have some good yards earlier, but he got the 5 more touchdowns, is why he averaged a little better, right? How's that going to play out this year? See, I don't like I mean, it's nice when you're getting those rushing yards from a wide receiver there, but I don't know. So real quick, there's his weekly for Ayuk. They're all year he was playing. I think that Samuel missed just 3 games in the middle there. But he really had those blow-up games, and of course it is when he has a rushing touchdown on top of his receiving. So I guess it's close, but for me, I'm going to go with the more traditional. I'm going to take Ayuk. Now, he's holding out a little bit, and we're hoping all that gets straightened out before the season starts, obviously. Don't want any holdouts, and then obviously he's going to be adjusted. But anyway, moving on. Up next, we've got Drake London, and DJ Moore. Look at that average difference. DJ Moore. All right, we can see who and the schedule for DJ Moore's easier. All right. Well, just the fantasy points alone. Now things change. Yes, Kirk Cousins is coming in. Right. Here's the yards from last year we can look at. Whew, look at that, 1,364, 8 touchdowns for DJ Moore. Blow up games. Look at that one, just off the chart. So, and we look at Drake London. Of course, his isn't going to be so spectacular, but he did get a new quarterback, and that's the excitement in him, right? Well, I guess DJ Moore got a new quarterback as well. So, hey, I'm going to go with DJ Moore here. Proven. I mean, yes, I like the promise with Kirk Cousins and Drake London coming in, but hey, you know what? You got to go with the more proven here at this point. I like DJ Moore. He's been good for, 5 years now? Just really good. And I know it's crowded there in the Bears, but I like him. Moving on. What else we got wrapped up here? How about Jalen Waddle and Drake London? We got, So let's move in there. So Jalen Waddle here, 31 schedule. One of the hardest schedules there. We can bring in the yardage there. 2 more touchdowns, it looks like, and 100 yards for Waddle. Harder schedule. I think what the problem here is in Miami is, look at that, just we had 2, 3 games, 4 games over 10. That's just not a first place. The problem is they found the running game there in Miami. 2 of those really good. 3 now. They brought in a rookie. But they, a balanced attack for the number 1 offense. Yeah, he's going to get a lot of attempts because of the number 1 offense. And of course, here we just looked at London, so there isn't much to look at. But in this case, with the Kirk Cousins promise, I think that Waddle's already topped out. I mean, let's go ahead and take Drake London here. I mean, just because of the promise with Kirk Cousins coming in, maybe they'll change it around, be a real offense. Moving on. Up next, we've got Chris Godwin and Christian Watson. Well, I can tell you right now, I'm going with Christian Watson. I love, first of all, let's look at that schedule difficulty. And you can see the Green Bay Packers has the easiest passing schedule. So if he returns to form whatsoever, look what you're going to get there. What are you going to get out of, let's go ahead and put the yards on there. You can see that he obviously missed some time last year, Watson. Look at that, didn't play a lot and was hurt a lot of those games. But we have to remember back a year ago to his rookie season. Now, this plays into the sophomore slump. Last year, he was a sophomore, didn't do too good. Well, what do we like about him this year? Nowhere to go but up for a third-year receiver, right? We like third-year receivers. Chris Godwin's been here forever. And pretty well, this is what you're going to get next year. He finished 33rd last year. You got him ranked 34th. So this is what you're getting. Where there's promise in this Christian Watson. That's why I picked him. Moving on. There's more promise in him. Let's see what's up next. We're going to go through Puka Nacua and... Oh, it does do flex positions. I have it set not only to pick people who are ranked close to each other, but flex. Now, that would be more, obviously, for the regular season when we use this. Or slot Saturday nights. Tune in, get that schedule, or hit me on the subscribe so you're ready when the season goes. But we'll be looking at these Saturday night matchups because a lot of times you're picking between 2 flex people. And let's get the schedules on there. Ooh, don't like that running schedule for ETN. Now, that's his schedule difficulties these are position difficulties. This is the wide receivers for Puka and the running back schedule difficulty for ETN. So let's move on to the yards. Woo! Look at that Puka Nacua. Hey, you know what? If it's good for the goose, good for the gander. But Puka Nacua, sophomore slump possibly. All right, so we're just right out of the gate going to pick the running back anyway. You can see he averaged 2 points more. But they are, even though he's ranked 8th, you can expect a little bit more out of the running back. Let's take a look. Wow. And expect, wow, 4th place finish last year. got him ranked 10th this year. I don't know. Jacksonville, we'll see what happens. But obviously there, and Puka's going to look great too. You know, that's great. There, I mean, hey, you can't go wrong with either, but obviously I would take the running back here. And, you know, Cooper Kupp, is he healthy coming back? What do we got there? So let's move on. Up next, we've got James Cook and Garrett Wilson. So we got 11 average for Cook and 7 for Garrett Wilson. Let's bring in the schedule. Hey, Garrett Wilson's schedule's a little easier. Cook's isn't that great. That's running's not so good, but hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and bring in that in where you had 445. This is for Cook, 445 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns. He had more receiving touchdowns than Garrett Wilson did. Of course, he ain't getting many in the running department with Josh Allen there taking them all in. But obviously here we're going to do the same thing, take the running back. You know, that averages 4 more points. But the promise there is for Garrett Wilson is that Aaron Rodgers comes in and ups his game. But look at that, barely over 10. What a disappointment if you had him last year, right? He got him ranked 7th, finished 35th. Very high for me. Well, let's move on. I would obviously take James Cook here. All right, let's see. Randomizing me to others. Looks like Barkley and Kyren Williams, 6th and 8th ranked. Woo! Look at that fantasy average for Kyren Williams, 18.9. Obviously, if you had him last year, what a boost to your team. Ooh, let's take a look at the schedule this year, though. Look at that Barkley schedule, the second one. Second easiest schedule in running. You know, yeah, you're worried that Jalen Hurts is going to take some of those touchdowns running. Here's what they did last year as far as their yardage. We could peek in here and see Barkley missed a few games early. You know, still finished 13th back. And you want to talk about missing games early or in the middle. But Kyren Williams, look at those. All those points those years. Whew. Now, where are we going to go with this one? Oh, this is the hardest one I've had so far. You know, I just worried about the little injury risk there. I'm going to go ahead and play it safe and take Barkley. You know, obviously Kyren Williams was dynamic last year. And if you could get him and the rookie, you know, as the backup, I don't know. I'm going with Barkley. Making a choice there. I mean, he got some good receiving, got some good things. Just better team. You know, he moved up a team. Philadelphia's going to have a little better offense than the Giants did. So even more. So we'll see how that goes. And, you know, they're at some point going to want to back down on Hurts running all those. But I'm going to go with Barkley. Let's move on. Spending too much time on that. All right, moving in. Jalen Reed versus Malik Neighbors. Obviously, no stats on Neighbors being a rookie. They're ranked 33rd. But Jaden Reed comes in 31 ranked. Let's go ahead and put on the schedules. Ooh, Green Bay Packers have that easiest pass schedule. But right out of the gates, let's go ahead and put the numbers. There are no numbers for Malik Neighbors. But you know where I'm heading with this. If you've watched any of my videos, or especially the sophomore slump video, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Sophomores have an 11% on average decrease in their production. So that's proven over the last 3 years. I went back and calculated. Go watch the sophomore slump video. But we take the rookie when it's close like this. You know, just hope. We don't take the back years. And moving on. All right, Zach Moss and Tony Pollard's up next. So Cincinnati's Zach Moss has come to town. We had a 10-point average from last year. Let's go ahead and bring in the rest of the schedule. A little easier there for Zach Moss than Tony Pollard. And there's the yards from last year. But obviously, you can see here that Tennessee, last year, most of these, Tony Pollard came with Dallas, not Tennessee, right? So I don't know what they're thinking, ranking these Tennessee running backs so high that damage was done. And I guess you could say the same here for Zach Moss. That was done in Indianapolis. But hey, I think Cincinnati's offense is going to be a little more potent than Tennessee's, right? And yes, Chase Brown here for Zach Moss, but hey, I'm going Zach Moss here. And like we saw in the earlier, they moved Spears up a little bit. What, are they going to have a shared backfield there in a team that doesn't do much from the running back position? Moving on. Up next we have Mostert and Chubb. Wow. Hey, I can bring in the rest of the stats here. The difficulty, Cleveland has an easy schedule there. But there's the stats. Obviously, Chubb missed everything last year. I mean, he did get first game in. Wow. Just crazy. The number 2 scorer in fantasy last year from the running backs. And they have him ranked 29th. I guess he's just going to fall into a pit this year, they're thinking. I'm taking him. I mean, I know he's getting old. And they brought in a rookie, Jalen Wright. But, hey, and obviously you still got A-Chain. But number 1 offense there. Chubb, we just don't know how long it's going to be. So, obviously, Mostert's the pick there. Moving on. Next up, we have Swift with the Bears. And Javonte Williams with Denver. Is this going to be his year? All right, let's bring in some. Well, might be his year for me if his third-ranked schedule. The easiest schedule there. I like that. You can see what they did last year. Hey, that's a little bit receiving there for Javonte there. But Swift, it's crowded backfield there. I guess I could bring up the numbers, but they're going to be what they did last year. Like here they are. Just look at that. That's just poor. Look at all those low games. Finished 32nd. They got him ranked 27th. So as it does as good as last year, you're getting what you expect. Now, here about the same, 23rd, but that's with Philadelphia, those rushing. Of course, Jalen Hurts took the touchdowns, but it's a crowded backfield there in the Bears. I'm not going to venture into the unknown. I'll just take this Williams. Hopefully with that easy schedule, he'd come out and perform a little bit better than Swift. I mean, hey, they still got Herbert. They got Roschon Johnson there. Got a platoon there maybe in Chicago. I don't know. But we're going to go with the safe bet, Javonte Williams. Moving on. And Derrick Henry versus ETN. Derrick Henry, I love it. Going to a new team here. 11th, the easier schedule than ETN. And you can see the yards there. What about, Lamar Jackson stealing touchdowns from Derrick Henry? Wow. Look at those. On a bad team. Now he goes to a better team. I was tempted to take ETN, but I'm just going to take Derrick Henry here. Moving him up a little bit. I know the 7th is kind of high. He's getting older, but not much competition there, I don't think. We're going to go with Derrick Henry. Moving on. And we'll make this the last one to get moving. Now, Joe Mixon versus A-Chain. Look at that average for A-Chain. First of all, let's check out the schedules. Joe Mixon got a tough schedule. They did Houston bad. They got a tough schedule passing and running. And, let's take a look at that A-Chain. Wow. Obviously, it's hard to start him at third week, but after that, when he was playing. Now, he's injured a lot. Said he put on a little weight. Mixon, solid all year, was there. Hey, I'm just going to have to go with probably Mixon here, just for the safety. I mean, a lot going on there in Miami. But, all right. There we go for today. And if you're liking what you're seeing, please hit that like and subscribe button. Even if you're not, hit that like and subscribe button. Give me a subscription. Get you on the back wall. All right. This is where I like to fill my shorts. Not sure how short's going to go on this one, but it's a rapid repeat. So filling my. All right, Fantasy AI. We're working some fantasy slot machine, matching up two players and see who we'd pick for the upcoming season. Well, first off, we have Jamar Chase coming in third rank, Justin Jefferson fourth rank. So I'm going to take Justin Jefferson. See how this works. And next up, we have two teammates, Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel Sr. And even though Samuel averaged a point more last year, we're going to go with Ayuk. If you want to see why we're making these choices, come watch the long version where you can get some of the data that's too compact on this short. But come check us out at Fantasy AI and see who we might pick on DJ Moore versus Drake London and a lot of others. Come check the long version.